So today we're going to mix it up a bit. I've got some viewer feedback that people love your storytelling, April. Did you know that?
I've been told that in my life.
So I'm sure you know this because we've talked about it. But when you start a business or a podcast or anything, the last people to actually like jump in are usually your friends and family. And it's completely true. And now that I have my friends finally like jumping in after we've been doing this for a whole season now, we're on season 2, I'm getting feedback finally, and I'm really excited about that. And all the feedback has been really positive. But I did hear the feedback from more than one individual that's like, April's such a good storyteller, and I want to hear more stories from April. And so I was like, okay, well, now we have today's episode. The other fan favorite is the Carlos Lee story.
So people do like that one because
people love it.
I've looked at, so I guess if you listen, you love it because it's not like it has more listens than the other ones. Mm-mm. So it must be that if people listen to it, they're like, yeah. So.
It's one of my favorite stories too, because especially because of how much we talk. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of things that like we know a lot about each other, but there's certain times that we like, and like even the episode I was just editing the last episode, the ADHD episode, mm-hmm. and I liked hearing you say, oh, now I see like the full view, the full picture of the story, because mm-hmm. you and I do Marco Polo like constantly. So we get this little like
snippets.
Yeah. And sometimes I talk to you or I talk to a different friend and then I come back and I'm like, I think I told you, but I didn't tell you all of it. Or, mm-hmm. I'll tell you the important parts, but not the middle. Mm-hmm. So I really loved that because even though you told me like one time, especially about the Carlos Lee, you're like, yeah, one time I pretended to be a dude. And like you told me the very small version. So hearing the full version was like epic. So today we have another episode about an April story, and it's called...
We're calling it the Tippy Canoe incident.
Yeah, which is great. That's perfect.
But it's not a...
It doesn't have to be the one we plaster across the page, but right now, in this moment, it's the Tippy Canoe story.
Yes.
So without further ado.
This story, though, unfortunately, isn't... Hopefully there's some funny parts, but it's not funny. It's not
That's
funny.
Okay. Hey, life is not always funny. We sometimes need the real stories.
I don't know if people liked the other stories I told because they were funny. Everyone likes to laugh, right? You're listening to you're making dinner and you're listening to a story and you're laughing. So, no one really wants to be gripped. I mean, I guess they do. They have those, they call them driveway moment podcasts or something where like you're driving around listening to your podcast and you get home and you sit in the driveway to finish the episode because you cannot
I've never heard of that.
Wait. So I guess there are podcast stories with gravity. But anyways,
Life is multifaceted, so
because this podcast is about things that change us, big things and little things, big changes, little changes, things that kind of turn us into who we are.
All the moments.
Mm-hmm. So this one is a thing that happened to me that continually kind of impacts me, and I'm over it. So maybe you can help me.
Okay.
Because I still have PTSD from this incident. And I don't want to. No one really wants to, right? And no one really gets a choice. Mm-hmm. But I just look at, like, I'll tell the story of this thing that happened, but I just keep thinking in the grand scheme of things, people have had so many worse things happen to them in their lifetime. Like, there's so many people have had like multitudes of horrible things happen, and their stuff is crappy too. But I'm like, why do I have PTSD over this one thing? My life is relatively chill and uneventful. So
okay, I know I have a similar story to this. So if there's time, I will button onto that because I want to hear where this one goes first. But
okay,
go ahead.
So this story happened in the pre-Cary times, in the pre-Cary era.
So, doesn't that feel like such a distant memory now?
So Cary knows a little bit about this story because, again, I might have mentioned it in snippets.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I've ever told the full story. So
no, absolutely not. Not to me.
Okay. Because this happened in 2014, so that was 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
the summer of 2014. So we were up north. My husband's family has a house on Lake Huron. So if you're not a regional listener, the Great Lakes are these massive oceans, basically freshwater oceans in America. We live in the state shaped like the mitten. It's surrounded by Great Lakes. So when we go swimming, guys, we don't swim in
a pond,
round ponds. I mean, they're round, but we swim in turquoise, clear waters. They're beautiful. So, but they're also huge, like an ocean. So imagine a tale taking place in the ocean. So my husband's family has a house on the Lake Huron ocean, and it's right on the water, and it happens to be, because of its location, very private and secluded. So it's on this whole massive bay that has only 3 houses on it at the time of the story. 1 is ours, and 2 is owned by this other woman who is an elderly woman, and she wasn't up there at the time of this story in the summertime. So when this story happens, it's me and my husband and our 3 little kids, aged 0. Gus was a baby. Izzy would have been 2, and Olive was 5 or 4. She was little. Okay, I'm pretty sure she was 5. So 3 little kids out in the middle of nowhere, Lake Huron, huge bay. That then once you get out of the bay, if you're familiar with large bodies of water, it is the lake. It is an ocean. You're out in the ocean. So we were out on the beach one day, hanging out, the 3 kids, and me, the mom, on the sand playing. And it's a windy day, and the waves are kicking up, and we are happily playing when JB comes down to the beach. And for some reason that day, I don't know what happened, but he looks down at Gus. It was really bright and sunny and stuff, and he realizes Gus's little baby sun hat is off his head. And he's like, where's Gus's sun hat? Like, he needs a sun hat on because he's going to get burned on his little bald head. He had a giant head, guys. Like, it was like a bowling ball, bald sun magnet. So,
basic baby head, yes.
Basic baby head, just shining in the sun. He's like, where's Gus's hat? And one of the girls, again, ages 2 and
5-ish.
5. Yep, she was 5. She would have turned 6 that fall. So Izzy was 3 and 5. So one of them says casually, it blew off in the water, and they point out to the water. And JB looks, and for some reason he is pissed. He's like, why didn't you tell me his hat blew off? Now it's disappearing in the water.
Oh my God.
And as he's talking,
and you're like a couple hours, how far is the cabin from like a store, like if you needed to get another one?
Like 45 minutes.
So very inconvenient when you have a bunch of toddlers or
We're
young
not
kids.
getting another hat.
No, it's done.
So anyways, the hat blows off, and for some reason he is just annoyed. I feel like I probably had a second one. Like, I always had a couple hats. We have options. But anyways, he was annoyed with the girls for not saying anything. And I'm like, they're little kids. They're playing in the sand.
Yeah, reminder.
Whatever, dude. Something else must have been like clawing at him that day, because he was like mad. He was like, what the hell?
Okay.
We got to get that hat. Well, as he's talking, the wind has taken the hat, because the wind is at our backs. It's blowing out in the water. The hat is going out.
Just rolling around right across the top of the water, right?
Yep, it's just flying away.
Yep.
And he's like, crap, I can't swim to it. So he says, I'm getting the canoe out. I'm getting the canoe. I'm canoeing for this $5 hat from Target. I was like, oh my gosh. So he's in a rage. He has to go back up the beach, gets the canoe, drags the canoe down. And the little girl's like, Dad's going on a canoe ride. This is so exciting. Daddy, can we go? So Olive ran and got her life jacket on. She's like, can I go, Dad? He's like, fine, get in the boat. And little Izzy was like, can I go, Dad? He's like, no, I don't have time for this. We're going. We're leaving.
The hat is literally flying away. Like, the more time we talk.
The ocean.
Yeah,
and apparently this is an important part of our wardrobe, and we need it.
Top priority.
Whatever. So he flies out there in the canoe. And by the time the canoe hits the water, Cary, the hat has sunk. It is gone. But he thinks he's going to find it. I don't know.
I think like this is a great moment to stop and be like, many parents have done this kind of thing. I don't want to call it stupid, or we just get kind of swept up, just like the hat, into the tides. but we get kind of swept up in like, oh no, we need this, or we have to take care of our child, or we have to do this thing. And sometimes we don't have that moment to stop and go, it costs $5. It's gone.
Yeah.
You know, so like completely
those things
like
weren't happening.
In favor of him in this moment. Like he's not completely ludicrous, but
that's where I'm just like, what? Because it was like, we're on vacation, Cary. It's calm, chill vibes. It's not like work was calling or something happened. He was driving, somebody was annoying. Like, there's nothing bothering him, you think. So I don't even know if you asked him today why he got all wrapped up, but I'm glad you can say that happened. So yeah, he was in that mode where he's like, $5 item sunk in the ocean, the Great Lakes Ocean. We got to get it. So he goes out there with her, and he's paddling, and the hat's gone. And so he's just paddling straight out into the lake, into the vast, highly wavy, choppy ocean, in a canoe. Does he have a life jacket on, Cary? No, he does not.
Oh, gosh.
So he's paddling out there, and so I'm watching. And then suddenly I realize they're getting into the open lake part, which is not a safe place to be.
And the waves. So there's waves and there's current still. And like you can even see, depending on the time of the day, the white caps will start coming in, right?
Oh, it was totally white caps. That's how
we knew and that's when you're like, no. This is past taking,
Yep, he's cutting through these white caps to, again, go after this disappeared hat. So I realized he has gone out really far. And it's not a motorized vehicle. And so oh, shit. And they're out there for a while, and I'm watching, and I thought, they're going to tip. They're just going to tip.
Oh, like, God, you could sense it. Yeah.
Yeah, this whole time.
Moms,
And I am a little more cautious about water than other people. Like, I love the water.
I love the water. I'm terrified of it, though. Is that what you're... Yeah.
We have a healthy fear of it. And I don't know if it's because I just understand that you can die in the water. Lots of people die in the water. Or if it's tied to when I was little, I almost drowned in a swimming pool. Did I ever tell you about this?
Oh my gosh. Okay. We have to continue with the Tippy
Did you already
Canoe.
have this experience too? We have
parallels. I have. Yes. That's why I'm getting so excited. Okay. I've almost drowned twice, and I'm like, third time I'm out.
Third time's it's
nope, I'm not drowning. And I'm not like, I didn't go to swim school or anything.
Yeah, I didn't either. We should have. We grew up in Michigan.
We totally should have, especially because of the situation. And I think that, side note, had I been JB in the boat going, I have horrible depth perception. Like that is not my strength. I don't know if it's because my eyes are so jacked or whatever, but when I get in the water, I'm not conscious of how much energy I'm outputting and how much I need to get back. There's no gas tank. There's no, but also I can't tell how far I am.
Few people can anyway. Even so, if you don't have depth perception, you're at a double.
I mean, I have it. It's not great.
But if yours isn't, even stellar people, it's very hard. Where you're like, oh, the shore is just there. It's a mile away. When you realize
I have no concept of distance. You can give me
what happened?
You can give me like a ruler, and I can kind of tell like distance there. But you make it anything past my yard, dude. No. 30 minutes. I measure in time. I don't measure in distance. I'm like, it'll take you 30 minutes to get there. I just like, okay, really quick, April. Are you the person that is like, this is where you turn at the street? The street is called McGregor, or are you like, no, you turn at the bush that looks like an acorn?
It's both. It's like, it's called McGregor in case you're wondering, but you'll know it when you see the bush with the acorn on it.
Okay. So yes, I am mostly the bush like the acorn. Mm-hmm. I can tell you some street names. I can even tell you what they might sound like, but I cannot, or what they start with.
Well, you might know when you see it, but you won't be able to repeat. It's called
McGregor. But I'll be like, turn left at the first stop sign, go, like, that's how I am. So that gives us a lot of understanding about each other. Anyways, so do you want to talk about how I almost drowned, or do you want to continue with the Tippy Canoe? Because I'm trying to be real not ADHD right now and stay on task.
I don't know. Tell me you're drowning, and then I'll tell my drowning, and then we'll go back to canoe because it's kind of why I was
part of
watching
it all. Okay, so I've almost drowned twice. So the first time I remember it vividly, and like I was 5 or 6. I may have been like kindergarten, because I went to a pool party with a friend, and my mom was always like anti you going with your friends to pools. Like she just is like, no one's gonna watch you, and I'm like, I convinced her to do this. Okay, somehow. So anyways, do you know those big alligators that were big in the 90s or 80s? They're like a big inflatable alligator, and like I think they're for tubing. They have like handles on them. Okay, so in the middle of the pool, or this pool had one of these alligators, and I remember being like, oh, this is fun. I get to float on it, right? Unfortunately, it did not have enough air in it to actually like hold an individual
Who's putting this
properly.
in a pool?
Also, I am 5 years old. Who the hell isn't watching me? Anyways, I got really upset there. My point is, I shouldn't have been in the pool. I shouldn't have been on this alligator, whatever. And I used to do this thing because I couldn't swim, and I'd do the thing around the side of the pool. Right?
Yep.
So I can't remember if I got the alligator and dragged it and then jumped on it, or like what happened. But I just remember doing that on the side of the pool. Got on it somehow, and then I was off of it into the deep end. And I remember, it's like, you know, when you watch those movies and then like a little angel comes in and saves you, but you can't see their face. But, like you can kind of like, I don't remember who this girl was. I remember her being like a little bit older than me, but she straight up like grabbed me and took me to the side of the pool and like saved my life. Yeah, that's the first time. Okay. The second time, I want to say I was like between 10 and 12. Like I was like maybe a preteens, kind of something like that. Okay. And God love my dad. Okay. But we went to like a pond, and it was one of the random Lake Michigan, not the Lake Michigan, but Michigan inland lakes. And we went, and my dad is sitting at a picnic table, and me and my sister and my brother was too little at the time, but like my dad had, we were visiting somewhere up north, my dad's friend, and they had kids my age too, and my sister's age. And so we went out into the lake to swim. So you know how they have the ropes that have the buoys on them that like tell you like, don't go past here, idiot, if you can't swim.
Not the swimming area.
This is not a swimming area for you if you don't know how to swim. Okay, so my mom would always push into us like, you go with a life vest. You do not have a life vest on. But I'm at this age where I'm like trying to be cool. Yeah. I don't want to necessarily be like, I'm a horrible swimmer. I don't know how to swim. I just want to be like, you know, cool. So whoever this girl was, I don't even remember this girl, but I remember that she's like, hey, come out here. I'll hold you. I'll swim with you. I know, I'm so stupid, right?
That girl maybe genuinely thought she could do it. Okay.
Yeah, and maybe, I'm sure she did. She's like, we should look under the water. There's like an egg or something. There was like a duck egg, or who knows, right? Yeah. I just remember like looking into the water and it was white, and then like wanting to see more. Stupid me goes out there with her. She takes me there, but the buoys aren't going to be holding me up. They're like little plastic, you know. I'm like in the middle, like on the rope, right? Luckily, like me and my sister got a lot of things we disagree on, but thank God she was there paying attention, because her little butt, she would have been like, if I was 10, she was 7, or if I was 12, she would have been 9, right? But I don't even think we were that old. She swims out with her life vest on and freaking saves me. I remember literally going under the water with my arm up, trying to get my dad's attention, and my dad's like, hey, like waving to me while I'm drowning. Yeah, learning to swim the hard way. And I just remember my little sister saved me, and I'm like,
good
you know,
for her.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Like, I'm grateful, obviously. But yeah, those are the two times. Yeah,
I could have never met you.
Yeah, I'd be totally dead as a doornail. Yeah, gone. Anyways.
So that reminds me of, I'll tell you about the time I almost drowned, but then later when I was a teenager, I saved my friend's sister.
Okay.
I saved my friend's little sister from drowning in Lake Huron. So,
oh my God.
Or disappearing into Lake Huron. I don't even know. So we went out to the tip of Lake Huron. I think it was Port Austin.
Love that place. Yes, yep. I love that place.
So my bestie Kathy and her sister, I don't know.
Oh, so it's like a bridge.
I don't know if it was a
Oh, it's bridge. Not a bridge. So now, because I went there in the past couple of years. So how old were you when you did this?
This was in the 90s, man. Like 30 years ago.
So you were 10.
I was 15. No, yes, I was just born.
Oh, you were just born.
I saved a baby.
Yeah.
Okay. So we went out to one of the port beaches. It was a part of the beach that nobody went to. We where nobody else went.
Nothing cryptic there. Go ahead.
So her mom was there. She took us. So it was me and Kathy and her little sister, who was like 4 years younger than her. And Kathy and I are having a good time. And again, the waves kick up. So you guys, at the Great Lakes, when the waves kick up, it's like, watch out, danger, Will Robinson. Mm-hmm. People don't understand this. So
especially depending on which lake you're in, because, you know, there's a whole story about that one boat. What's it called?
Edmund Fitzgerald?
Yes, that actually swallowed an entire ship, and it's a whole thing. So anyways, the Great Lakes are beautiful, wonderful, but like you said, you have to have this understanding that, like, it can be beautiful and wonderful, but it's also dangerous as hell.
So the Great Lakes can be very dangerous.
But you have to have this understanding of, like, how scary it is. Like, what did you call it earlier? You have to have this, like, fear.
Like a respect for it.
A respectable fear about it, yes. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so go ahead.
Because I was looking up, too, before this, like, I'm curious. I'm like, people drown in the Great Lakes all the time.
Yeah. And
so
their bodies are never found.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's a thing, too, guys. Mm-hmm. So
they never found any of the Edmund Fitzgerald people either.
No, they're gone.
Anyways,
they're
go ahead.
Probably frozen at the bottom of the lake. So it's not as crazy when you look at it in perspective. So in 2025, the Great Lakes consist of 5 big bodies of water. 81 people drowned in the Great Lakes, and then several other people were critically injured. So that's not a lot of people. Lake Michigan, where I live, because Cary's more Lake Huron, I'm more Lake Michigan, 36 people in 2025 drowned, and 9 more were critically injured, like they could have brain damage or like wrecked for life. So that's over 40 people just drowning from swimming.
Yeah.
But then tens of millions of people swim in Lake Michigan every year. So it's not that huge amount of people.
But it's enough to be significant to know that, like, it can be dangerous and to not mess around. Yeah.
Because these aren't stories of like, oh, Johnny went out on his jet ski and then he tried swimming in the middle of the lake. No, this guy jumped off the pier where the lighthouse was and went swimming. He never came back. Just random. So you have to have this healthy fear. So Kathy and I were out there, and the undertow will kick up in that part of Lake Huron. Mm-hmm. So we felt the undertow. And I will have to say, my friend Kathy had this love-hate relationship with her sister. Maybe like you and your sister, like some days friends, some days not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So her little sister had gone out there, and one of those, and also guys, when you're poor and you don't have access to like an alligator swim toy in a pool, you use this thing called inner tubes from old tractor.
Oh my God, I forgot you just unlocked an old memory. Yeah, okay, so, remember the stem, how it would come up and like scratch the shit out of your arm? Oh, especially in your underarm. It would get in there and you're like, oh my God, I'm gouged. I'm surprised I don't have any scars.
We probably do, that we don't know where they came from. So
they're
the
in
inner
depth.
Tubes were fantastic because they were huge and strong.
This is before noodles, pool noodles, which were cheap and affordable. Yeah, never,
so, poor man's flotation device. You get these inner tubes from your dad's tractor or whatever.
Yeah.
You blow them up. They're fantastic, highly buoyant, but they've got, you think of that little spigot thing or whatever that you
it's a valve stem.
Yes. They're like 2 inches long.
Yeah.
And they're on the inside, guys. You can't just like say, oh, just roll it around so it's sticking on the outside. It doesn't hit me. No, it's on the
it is at an angle, just like in your tire, and it is going to stab you. It is,
It is immovable. It will damage you. So her sister had one of those, and then she tied a string to it, and she filled a milk carton with water or rocks, or I don't remember what, to weigh it down, to be a little anchor. So little sister could bounce around in the Great Lakes and play around in the shallow area and her inner tube, and she's kind of anchored.
Okay.
Next thing we know, big sister and me were not watching her, and she is far, far away.
Oh my God.
Down. So how the Great Lakes work too, they don't just pull you straight out to sea, they pull you like to the side and out.
Yeah.
Suddenly we hear her crying, help, help, help. And we look, she has, she maybe had her eyes closed, was just laying out there enjoying the day. And it has taken her out past anywhere, I don't even know, so far away. And my girlfriend's like, well, I can't swim. I ain't getting her. And I'm like, your sister's literally disappearing. We have to get her. And
we have to do something right now.
She was having one of those days where it's like, who's got a sister? I don't know.
Oh my God.
She was like, I'll go tell my mom. And I'm thinking, I don't think she really understands. And also, little sister got panicked, Cary. She was
I would be
way over her head. And so she's screaming that she sees sharks.
Aww.
And just so you guys know, there are no sharks in the Great Lakes. But, 9-year-old girl or whatever is like, seriously, she has seen them. They're turning around her and she's flipping out. So I'm like, I got to get to this kid before she just falls through this inner tube.
Okay, and really, how strong of a swimmer? Like 0 is you're just awful. You can barely stand in plain water, and 10 is like I could join the Olympics. Like
not
what?
Olympian.
What
I'm
level?
maybe a 5. I can doggy paddle, so I don't have that breaststroke.
Like a strong 4.5, almost a 5. I feel like that's right. I'm like I can go, but don't time me, and I'm not going to hold my breath half the time and put my face in the water. I just go.
My swimming is not face in the water swimming.
No, I am not the face in the water swimmer. I am making it, but I'm not making it fast. And it's not going to be cute.
There. Yes, it's not nothing people want to watch.
Right.
However, it can, like I've thought since this day, I can save somebody's life. I can swim enough to save someone's life. Okay. At least if they're in a buoy, not you.
You're going to at least try. Yeah, you're going to at least try.
Yeah. Which again, people, this is a little warning on the Great Lakes. If you do see someone struggling, don't you get your ass out there unless you have a flotation device on your body, because you will get pulled down with them and you'll drown. Okay. But I didn't think about that back then. So also she's floating away. So I walk out as far as I can. Thankfully, I was tall at that time already, 5'10". And I get as far as I could in the sandbar, and then I realize it's going over my head now, but I got to get her. So anyways, I did swim out there and I got her. And
wow.
Then I swam her back with her.
Luckily, she had the tube still, right?
She was still on the tube.
Oh, thank God, because we would have been dead.
But she was just panicked. I was like, "There's no sharks, sister." So.
And how old was she again?
So Kathy and I would have been like 13, 14. So she was 9 or 10.
Oh, okay.
So she was like 4th, 5th grade. So I went and I got her, and I, quote, saved her life.
Wow.
Now, granted, who knows what would have happened. The mom was not a swimmer at all, and neither was my friend. Okay, so they wouldn't have been able to do anything. There was no one else around. So anyways, I saved her life. I don't know if she would remember this moment as her life being saved, but since you and I both vividly remember almost dying in the water, she probably would. So I saved her. So I learned to doggy paddle because my mother made me. But before she taught me or told me I had to learn doggy paddle, just like you, Cary, I'm in a pool at a pool party. My mom was there, though. We went over there. It was like some church friends or something. Somebody was having a pool party. And like you, she told me, don't you be going swimming in the deep end. Hold on to the edge of the pool. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm little, maybe 6.
Okay.
I'm little. And I'm out there playing, and there's other kids playing around. I'm throwing a ball, whatever. The ball goes in the deep end. And I'm like, I can get the ball. I'm going to hold on to the edge. And I'm going to inch my way out there to the deep end. And I did, Cary. And then there was the part where I had to reach for the damn ball. So I did. And then I went down.
Oh, my God.
I grabbed the ball, and then I sunk. Did this happen? You just sink to the bottom of the pool. And I remember the wall of the pool was tiled because I'm clawing at the tile.
Oh, my God.
I'm trying to get out, and I can't.
And where's your mom?
I'm a tall kid. She is there, sees me splashing, and thinks I'm, quote, learning to swim. And so she's leaving me out there while she's dealing with other things. Thankfully, a dad knew that I was not learning to swim because I was completely submerged. My fingers weren't even out of the water.
Yeah.
And I remember just trying to climb back up the tile, and it was not happening.
Yeah, and you're not thinking to kick your feet or because you're panicking and you didn't even know.
I'm standing at the bottom of the deep end. Like, feet were on the bottom.
Oh, my God.
I was like, what the hell? So thank God, a man, I just remember, grabbed me and pulled me out. So
I think this is why I'm so hyper vigilant when we go to the pool too.
I wonder if that's why I am too.
Yeah,
just because I'm like, crap happens. Like, let people play, but have a plan. That kitty cat has thoughts. And people going in the pool.
Maybe we can see her. What is it,
Oh,
Sia?
she's so cute.
Anyways, if you guys could hear my cat.
So they probably can. I heard it loud
Yeah.
up there. So the man pulled me out, and I coughed up a bunch of water. Nobody had to do CPR, but I was like
Traumatized. Yeah.
So after that, I always wanted to learn how to swim, and I've tried, but I just something in my brain. So my husband's family, they're very good swimmers. They have a pool at their house. They're fish. His mom was a lifeguard. She lifeguarded at University of Michigan to help pay her way through school.
Oh,
and
cool.
she was on like the synchronized swim team or something.
That's cool.
Right? So a few summers before we had kids, she's like, April, I'm going to teach you how to swim. I'll work with you. We can
Aw,
do this. It was
That's
really cute.
so nice.
Yeah, so she worked hard with me to get me comfortable, my face in the water, and she was a good teacher. And I tried, and I still can't. Like, I can't. Just something is broken. And she was like, it was her or somebody that said, you know, you almost drowning probably has you a little bit worried and stuff, so you got to get over that. So I kept trying to get over it. I'm like, I'm in a pool, and I can definitely get out, but I just can't. So yes, I'm also vigilant around the pool, which I think is helpful. And like,
Yeah.
I really appreciate his parents' house. They always talk to the kids. What do you do if someone's struggling? And again, it's the don't you go after them. They have a giant like stick with a hook on it.
Oh, I
that's
bet they
nice.
do.
And
Yeah.
so they're like, if someone's struggling, one person goes and gets an adult. There's always adults there, but just in case. And then you can use that hook, but don't you be getting in that water. So anyways, it's too funny that we both have very similar almost drowning experiences.
It's funny, haha. Yeah, we have so many. I love when we uncover those synchronicities in our lives because it's just ironic.
But we both lived, so we both met each other.
And here we are to tell the tale.
So that day, when JB goes out in the canoe, because I am a little hypervigilant, I keep an eye on him. Now, normally when you're up there, people are swimming and playing in the water and stuff. And if it's adults, nobody's watching them.
Yeah.
Like, adults know what to do. So, but I was like, he was very angry when he went out there. He's not, like, you know, necessarily in the right frame of mind, and he's out there far. So I go in the house. I was like, oh no. And I see them. And it looks like they're struggling, and it's like, you know, flipping around a little bit. In the house, they had this giant telescope. So I look in the telescope, and yep, sure enough, the canoe is flipped over, and they're both next to the canoe, and the waves are just crashing.
Oh my God! And your 6-year-old's out there.
Yep. So 5-year-old
And
is
luckily
out there.
in her little life vest.
Gus is like 8 months old. He's a baby. And then Izzy's 3. And I'm thinking, what the hell do I do? Because they need help. Because if they get washed out into the lake, no one can find them. They're going to just, like, think of this little pin in a haystack. That's what it is when you are lost in the ocean of the Great Lakes. So I'm like, shit, what the hell do I do? I don't have a motorized boat. I have no way to get to them myself. And P.S., we're out in the middle of the boonies, and the landline is down. The landline has been down for like a week. And they're like, yeah, we'll put you on our list. But because they're in the middle of nowhere, it's not a high priority.
Yeah.
My cell phone never works out there.
Yeah.
It's never worked. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. So I was like, Lord Jesus, help me. Pick up my phone. And I called 911, and it went through. It should not have gone through. It went through.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, holy shit. So I told them what was happening, and they said they'll send the Coast Guard from Mackinac Island. They said it's 45 minutes. I'm like, oh shit. I was like, well, they're in the lake, so good luck with that.
Yeah.
But at least they were coming. And so I then thought, you know what? JB's cousin is down the road, like 15 miles at a camp. She was working at the camp that summer I don't remember what she was doing. I don't know if I knew at the time. Turns out she was on like the boat crew or whatever.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
I called her. Again, we're in the middle of nowhere. No one has cell service, and she's at a camp working where you don't have your cell phone.
Oh my gosh.
She happened to have her phone on her. It happened to ring. She happened to pick it up.
Oh my God. Okay.
And it happened to connect.
Yeah,
So I
because
was
like I mean, like, what year is it? It's 2026. This is probably the first summer that where you were gone that I've actually had pretty good connection with you while you were up there. And all the
my
summers,
in-laws got the good internet. Finally.
oh, bingo. Okay, well that makes a lot more sense.
There's nothing, and yeah, so I only had connectivity with the outside world when I'd like drive to town. Mm-hmm. But only one of the towns. The 2 towns nearest to us, one has nothing, so the other one does. So I'm like, I told Ellen, I was like, this is what's happening. She's like, I'll send a boat. I was like, thank God.
Oh my gosh.
So, but again, they've been in the water, I don't know how long at this point.
Yeah.
It's icy. So the
yeah,
Great
you can get
Lakes
hypothermia actually pretty, I don't know, there's probably
quickly.
research out there, but I think that's what ends up killing. So when you were talking about the amount of people dead in the Great Lakes I was going to say, I bet you most of them are hypothermia because they end up out there and it's just so bitter, ice cold.
Yeah, you cannot last.
You can't last out there, yeah, unless you have some kind of scuba suit and training, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so even in the summer, that lake is like 40s in the 40s.
Yeah, it's like doing it's like when you go, like, we have this place called the Schwitz in Detroit where it's like the Jewish bathhouse, and they have one of those water. It's like a pool, but it's meant for the ice plunge, and that's what it's like. It's like the cold plunge.
Oh, yeah, it is like a polar plunge.
And that's what makes me crack up when people are like, we're going to go vacation, and we're going to go play in the Great Lakes. And I'm like, good luck. I don't want that. My teeth hurt when I just put my feet in.
Just
like,
so you know, it's cold.
It's icy.
Yeah, so it is very cold. And so they're out there, and the waves are... Sometimes you can't see their faces because the waves have washed over them.
Yeah, you got your little 5-year-old whose little body is this, size of a quarter.
No fat on her body.
Yeah, she's tiny.
And I didn't realize that JB didn't have his life jacket, or I wasn't thinking that. I was just like, they're in the water, problems. And you can freeze. So I've called the 2 people I can, praying for the best. But I was like, I got to go out there because they were at this point, they have left the canoe, which, Cary, is a cardinal sin. You don't do that because if you're floating out in the middle of the Great Lakes, no one can find a little face, but they can see a bright red canoe that has capsized.
Right. Yeah.
But again, JB wasn't thinking this through because
he was just terrified trying to keep his baby alive and himself.
When you're freezing your ass off,
you're not
does
swimming.
Your brain work?
No,
Your brain doesn't think, let's do something logical. Your brain's like, what the hell? I
have to survive. Yeah.
Freezing. And the water keeps washing over our heads. So I was like, shit, they have left the canoe and they're swimming towards one of the points because this is a horseshoe or a U-shaped bay that we're in. So there's 2 points and they were just past the edge of it. So they're swimming to one of the points, which makes sense. So I go and I think, okay, I'm going to get out to that point and see if I can at least see them so I can say, Coast Guard, they have traveled due east or west or wherever. Or to see if I can even get to them or whatever. But the beach where we were is sand. But once you get off of the bottom of the U, the sides are pure rocks and boulders. Not pebbles, like cutesy pebbles.
Yep.
It is like, and you know this about the Great Lakes, it can be varied. Lake Michigan is highly sand. It's like perfect beach. But Lake Huron is rock town. So it went from glorious sandy beach to rocks. And you can't just walk these rocks. You're climbing through boulders. Yeah. So I have, again, a baby and a 3-year-old. And
this
I can't
before swim shoes, probably. Like, that's probably just when swim shoes started. So
they
nobody's
were
got
around
those.
Maybe. I don't know what we put on. But yeah, you have to have shoes on. You cannot go out there in your bare feet. So, and I can't leave them home alone because there's no adults.
They're too little. Yeah.
Way too little. So I throw Gus in. We had this little hiking backpack. So I throw him in the hiking backpack. And then I grab little Izzy's hand. I'm like, we got to go. And so poor Izzy, I'm dragging her, climbing through the rocks, trying not to bust my ankles because I'm trying to move at a clip.
Yeah.
And she's skateboarding the best she can. She's little. She's doing so good. But I was like, we got to get out there. And by the time I make a third of the way up the horseshoe, they disappear. Like they go past. God. And I was like, where the hell do they go?
That's so scary. Meanwhile, you're parenting 2 littles, trying to not panic because that's your husband and your baby.
Yeah. So I'm going out there. And at the camp where the cousin was, JB's grandparents actually helped build that camp in the 50s.
Oh, right, yeah.
There was a man that everybody knew and loved who was a part of the camp who went regularly, but every day he would go swimming. He would go swimming out into the bay of where that camp was. Well, one day when he went swimming, he never came back. They never found his body. He just disappeared.
Because he was a regular.
Yeah, and he was a highly skilled regular swimmer.
Oh my God.
So
how are you coping at this point? Is it just JB in the canoe where you're like, I'm just surviving. I have to just keep going. Do you remember how you felt?
My brain was kicking in like, find them. But also the other half of my brain was, oh my gosh, I'm a widow. I'm a widow and my child is dead and I'm down to 2. I'm down a kid and a husband. I'm a widow. I'm just like that.
Yeah, you're just panicking, right? You're freaking out.
I'm not panicking, but well, maybe I am, but not like how other people do. But yeah, my brain's just like, you are now a widow. You're going to be in the news. Everyone's going to feel sorry for you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at you. It's a typical Cary response.
I'm just like, I'm going to be getting attention now, but for something
horrible. Oh, wow, yeah.
And it's going to be lore now of like,
you're part of the Great Lakes mysteries.
Yeah, like, and now it's going to be like a cautionary tale for everyone.
Oh my
but I was
gosh.
just like, they're dead. They're drowned. Because at this point they have been out there for over half an hour.
Yeah, that's
in an ice bath in heavily wavy waters.
Yeah.
And they've disappeared from view. So as I'm scrambling out there, my phone rings again. I was like, how the hell am I getting service
damn miracle.
now?
Yeah.
It was the 911 caller. She was like, how's it going? I'm like, don't fucking know.
Yeah.
And she was like, we're sending an ambulance. I was like, okay, well, there's no bodies right now, but fine. Send an ambulance to the house. So she's sending an ambulance and Coast Guard's on its way. And I said, I've called somebody else to go and look for them too. So the rest of how this works is a blur. But at one point, JB's cousin comes around the bay, around the corner, and I don't remember how this happened, but anyways, we'll just, there's a lot of blurry parts.
Do the best you can. Do the best you can.
There's a lot of blurry parts, but in the end, JB's cousin picked them up off the tip of, they got around the horseshoe and they were somewhere on land somewhere.
Oh, wow.
So she picks them up and she drives them back to the bottom of the horseshoe to the house.
In the boat or in a car?
In the boat. There's no car because there's no.
Right. I just want to make sure I'm getting the picture right. So they're driving back through the whole. Yeah.
And then I see the other boat. She sent 2 boats. The other boat came, but when she first came around the corner, I didn't see any bodies on the boat, and I'm like, oh shit, they didn't get them.
That's even scarier than well, no matter what, a body.
I was
scary,
going one way, she was coming from the other way, and if neither of us encountered them, they're gone. Yeah. So I feel like she came through once and they weren't in it, but anyways. I didn't understand. I couldn't tell, but they had like some sort of blanket on Olive or whatever. But they had gotten them, and they had taken that. They were taking them to the shore. So then I called 911, and I was like, "Call off the Coast Guard. We got them." What had happened was JB swam. He's out there with Olive, freezing. Yeah. He does not have a life jacket, guys. Now the canoe. The cushion on the canoe had was flotational device, so he had that.
Oh my God!
On his chest, but he is getting washed over with the waves.
Yeah, he's a big dude. He's not like a little guy, so like a little cushion.
Got a lot of body fat, which was good, working for him. Not in a bad way. I'm just like, he's a grown adult. He's not like some twerpy little
JB,
kid.
On behalf of Finch and Sparrow, I'd like to apologize. Should you be listening to this episode?
No, I just mean like compared to Olive, who had 0.
No,
so even
right,
me,
of course, obviously.
Him and I would have been in a good spot because we've got more body fat. So
you're adults.
Freezing.
Yeah,
he's freezing. He's trying to swim. Your body freezes up, and you can't move your limbs the same way.
No,
and Olive is crying.
Yeah.
At one point, they stopped and they prayed, and then he's like, "We've got to swim to land." So he's trying to drag her because she can't swim. She is like frozen.
Yeah.
And trying to keep her head above the water from drowning. And he's trying to swim. So thank God.
Meanwhile, more waves crashing on you. Yeah.
He grew up in this swimming family. He is a good swimmer. So he got them. He's like, we just got to get to that point. It's rocks and rocks and rocks.
And we can stand. Yeah.
He gets to the rocks and they're still in the water, but there were a point where they can stand up. Well, Olive's legs were so frozen she couldn't even stand up. Aww. She was like, I can't even walk. And he was struggling.
Yeah.
Somehow they
throw their bodies like over the rocks. Yeah.
To the land. And he's like, okay, we made it. We are on land. And then the black flies descended. He was like, oh my gosh.
Oh my
like,
God.
April, it was like a swarm.
That's another damn thing about Michigan.
Yeah, it was at the tip of this peninsula, and with the way the wind was blowing them all out of the woods right into the end of the water there. And they were just feasting on him because he was just going to lay there. They were exhausted. They couldn't walk. And he's like, I'll just lay here for a minute and get my bearings. He couldn't. They were eating them alive.
Oh
but
my
thankfully,
gosh.
he hadn't gotten up and tried going into the woods yet because Ellen wouldn't have seen them. So Ellen saw them. She got them in the boat and took them to land. So meanwhile, they're back on the sand, walking up the beach or traveling. Someone's carrying Olive to the ambulance that was waiting at the back of the house. And I'm still on the rocky.
Oh my
rocky
God, with the babies.
And I don't know if they're okay. Like, they were carrying Olive. Is she okay? Is she breathing? I don't know. JB was walking. And I've still got these little kids that I have to scamper back through the damn rocks without busting our ankles.
Yeah.
So we did it. It was very hard, but I did it.
Yeah.
JB's in the ambulance, and so is Olive. So I just run over to the ambulance.
Right, because you have to see and make sure. Yeah.
I don't know what the hell's going on. And so I go into the ambulance, and it was like 700 degrees in there. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, what's happening? And they said Olive is frozen. So JB was frozen, but he was okay. Olive was frozen. Her body temp, Cary, was like 82 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
Like, she was an ice cube. Aww. She was conscious though. So they're like, we're cranking up the heat in this ambulance to cook her because we got to cook her. You got to get her hot.
Yeah. Because also, even though it's summer, right? In Michigan, and especially where you're at, it's windy as heck because of those Great Lakes. It's not always warm. You know, it's cold.
It was not 90 degrees that day.
No, and even if it was 90, it'd be 80 because of how the wind blows, especially through those kind of areas, like the closer you get to the water. Because that's the thing, right, in Michigan. Like, it's ingrained in us, probably in a subconscious way, where, like, we can smell the water. We can feel the water. Like, I'm sure a lot of people can, but, like, we can tell when we're near water, and we can tell, like, by, at least I can, by how you're, like, like, if you get colder, you're going towards the water. You know, you can tell by those three things, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so they cranked up the heat in that ambulance to over 90 degrees to get her body heat up from the 82 that it was. So I was like, okay. I said, Olive, do you want me to get you your stuffed toy or whatever? She's like, yes. So I just leave to go. I said, I'll get you a stuffed toy. They had a blanket in there for her from the Girl Scouts. The Girl Scouts made them, their troops did, to have in ambulances for kids who needed, traumatic situation. So she still has that blanket.
Oh my gosh.
So
you'll have to take a picture and post it. That would be cool.
Maybe I will. So I just leave to go get her toy. And when I left, the ambulance worker, the EMT person, looks at JB and says, your wife is cool as a cucumber. She's like, I would be
it's a trauma response
right now. She's like, I would be beside myself. I don't even know how she's not flipping out what just happened. And as we've probably talked about before, I'm a delayed response person. So the next day was when my body was like, holy crap.
Oh my God, really?
What the hell happened? So so I brought her toy. They said if she doesn't warm up in 30 minutes, we got to take her to the hospital. And that was 45 minutes away.
Oh, gosh.
Thankfully, she started to warm up a little bit. And she was okay enough that they said, you can take her in the house. You guys warm her up. Keep an eye on her. Look for these things. So she was released. They did not have to leave the property. So we brought her inside. We lit a fire in the fireplace. Gave her some tea and did all these things because she was... a little kid. JB too. He was rough, not feeling great, but he did it because he was an adult. He had a little more body fat on him, and he was using his muscles more and swimming this whole time. Olive, I think, got frozen.
So he's keeping heat and
yeah. So he was working his limbs and everything. But that was the story of the Tippy Canoe.
Okay, I have some questions when you're done.
Yes. Bring on the questions.
My first question is, when you talk about how your body responded the next day, did you wake up, have your tea, and then have a meltdown? How did it go for you? How does that look?
It still doesn't even happen that way. It's just my body.
Is it your mind or your body?
My body.
Okay.
So my brain still doesn't go, whoa. So I still go about my day, but it's just my body is just like tired and sore and just feels like how you feel a shock, like you've been there with different things.
Yeah.
That feeling in the body. So that's what hit me the next day, which I'm grateful that I have this delayed response. So in those situations, my brain said, call 911. Okay, 911's 45 minutes away. Call this other person. Go out there and look for them. Like I was able to think, because a lot of people freeze in dangerous situations. So my brain just says, what's the logical thing to do here? So I was grateful.
You want to see how smart I am? Put me in a scary situation. You will see me do some incredible shit that like in a second. You ask me to pick dinner, we're screwed.
The boat,
there will be no solution.
Cary's got to make dinner. We're sinking.
We're sinking, guys.
If the boat's sinking, Cary's got it.
Yeah.
She's going to fix it. So, yeah.
I would fix the boat before I would fix the dinner. 100%.
So that's what it means for I reacted the next day. But yeah, but to this day, so this house is still in the family and we still go there on trips. And whenever kids are playing in the water in a flotation device, so if they're just swimming, I don't care. If they're on floaties, that's fine. But if they get in a kayak or a canoe
or an alligator
thing, I am watching, especially if they try to swim out to the sandbar or go farther. I'm just like, we need to watch these kids. And as
you're hyper vigilant.
As they've gotten older, they go farther. So it wasn't such an issue for years. I was always concerned, but everybody knew watch the kids. Now that they're older, like my son is 12, he'll go out with his cousin who's 10 and they'll suddenly just be kayaking. Did you tell an adult you were kayaking? Well, we told so-and-so. I'm like, no, you need to look an adult in the eye and say, I'm kayaking, so the adult knows I'm responsible for them and making sure in case they get trapped. And you can even flip that thing and be stuck on a sandbar, and it's not a big deal, but you'll need someone to help you, right? So I realized, like last summer, I don't know who it was, because I have nieces and nephews that are up there and things. Somebody went out on a boat, 2 kids, some sort of thing, playing out there. And how I was sitting in my chair, I had my back to the water. I was in the house. And so I kept turning to look at them to make sure they were okay. And I was like, oh, this is exhausting. I said, JB, he was sitting across from me. He could look out the window. I said, can you just watch them for me? Keep an eye on it. He's like, they're fine. Nobody needs to watch them. And I was like, yeah, somebody needs to watch them.
Yeah.
I said, can you do it for me? Because it's like hurting my neck to keep turning every 5 minutes. And he was very dismissive of it because he didn't understand. And I was like, okay, I can't handle this, so I'm leaving. So I left and I went in my room. I'm like, Lord, protect them. They might drown, but I can't watch them play out in the water like that, knowing that no one is keeping an eye on them. And I think I had a headache or something. Like I couldn't. Normally I will do it.
Well.
I'm like, whatever. It's upsetting to me, so it's my responsibility. So I will happily sit on the beach and watch them. But that day, something was happening that I just couldn't do it, and it was so upsetting because I'm like, nobody is doing this for me.
Yeah,
like my sister-in-law is vigilant too, so she would. But just like how Jay was like, oh, they're fine. I'm like, bro. They're probably fine. I am not fine. So if you watch them for me, then I'll be fine. So I realized, and even this year, I'm like, I still am affected by this. And my daughter, who was in the canoe that day, talk about upsetting. I watched it. She lived it. They were on the boat recently, the motorboat, and it's just too many details, but anyway, she found herself having to be the kid who canoed, brought the canoe back to the beach. And she was in it all by herself, canoeing back to the beach. And I saw her doing that. And so I went out to the beach because I knew she'd be like, And she's 17 now, many, many years have elapsed. And I go out there, I'm like, hey, look at you. She goes, I do not like this. I unsubscribe. I do not want this. But she's doing it. She's like, okay, I'm doing it. And it took her several years to even go in the canoe, even with I remember her uncle took her out in the canoe, just pedaling around a little bit, but it took her a long time to be like, okay, I'll try that.
Yeah, like I can see how even being 5, like 5, if you go back to when you're 5, you don't have a ton of memories besides drowning in a pool. You know, like there's not a ton there, but like you will remember the canoe. You will remember. Or even if your brain shuts it out, your body will remember the canoe,
like,
you know?
Something about that. Yeah, and she's totally fine in boats. She's totally fine swimming. She's a very good swimmer. She loves going tubing fast on the Great Lakes where you can fly off and probably break your neck. That none of that affects her, but just like me. And so if it's a non-motorized canoe kind of moment, we're a little unsure. So
when we started this episode, you said maybe you can help me. So was it to look at the reason why you're still upset, or like you're concerned, or over hypervigilant? Not over hypervigilant, just hypervigilant.
How do you move past that? Because apparently I haven't. And I know it'll always be there, but I want to get to the point where the kids are out there playing and I'm
you trust
aware
the
of
kids.
it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, they're going to be okay. And if not, I'll hear them hollering. And if they do fly out into the lake, the Coast Guard will get there. Or, you know, just to be more relaxed about it. Like, I don't want to live the rest of my life being concerned every time a kid goes out in a canoe or a kayak.
Right, especially when that's your vacation, right?
Yeah, that is like a significant part of my summer.
Well, I think that your feelings... Okay, so I think that when I'm observing my feelings and situations and stuff, I try to look at the balance and find the balance, because I don't feel that you should have no feeling about it. Like, my personal opinion is any adult that thinks that the kids are fine at the water is an ignorant adult. And I love JB, so like I hope he doesn't take that up. But that's like my personal opinion, because you're asking for danger. Then you should, even power tools, even a screwdriver, you have to respect the tool, because you can gouge your arm out and pull out, you know, you can hurt yourself bad with a screwdriver just as easily as you can in the water, right? So I think that there's a certain balance that you do need to have to understand that things can happen. Like I always tell my kids, and this is ingrained in them, where it's like, we always say, plan for the worst, but hope for the best, right? So we're still consistently thinking about what could happen and what can happen, but we're also not being terrified of it or anxious, right? So I don't think that your feeling is bad. I don't think it is at all. Maybe you could learn to dial it down and look at each kid individually and be like, that kid doesn't swim for shit. Like that one I for sure got to watch. But that one, you know what I mean? And like, I wonder, partially a side note, okay? I wonder, based on the story I was going to tell, if it has something to do with being the person who was observing the situation versus being the person in the situation. And I wonder if there's a different kind of thing that fires off in your brain where it's a more serious situation, or if it's like a personality trait. Because this year, and I don't think I ever told the story on here, I saved a guy's life. Like we talked about the story, right? So the thing that is interesting about it is you would never see me. So really quick, if this is the episode you're jumping in on, there's a gentleman across the street from my other house that I lived in that I saved his leg. He got his leg trapped under a car while he was working on it. And because of my fast thinking brain, I was able to run into the garage, grab the jack and boost up the car so his leg didn't get crushed. He ended up just needing like ankle surgery. It was like not a big deal. I see him working on cars all the damn time now.
Do you get a little...
Yeah, hell yeah,
like,
I do.
Dude.
Hell yeah. I couldn't even look at the guy. Okay, so let me back up really quick. So I wonder if there's a certain kind of different pathway that happens in the brain, because after I saved his leg, I had like this adrenaline blow through my body, and I made myself sick because it was so intense that I couldn't move on. And I had to like lay on the ground and just like focus on my breathing, because my body this was like 10-15 minutes after I talked to the police, after like everything was said and done. I walked my happy little butt. I had gone inside, bandaged my leg, went back out, then went back in the house, and then all of it started happening to me. Like my body was freaking out, and it was the adrenaline, and then it was my heart rate was going, and I had to I made myself sick. Then I lay down on the ground, and I'm like holding my chest, trying to control my breath, right? And try to like just calm my body down. Then I call my mom and I just start crying, and then she's crying, and like there's this whole thing. But that whole afternoon was screwed up because like after you go through all that in your body, I can't do anything else. My body is like shutting down and like, you know, going back to like my normal life. And I look at the way that your body responded the next day when you knew everything was okay. So for that whole time, your body was in a state of like stasis where you're like holding on to that like adrenaline to like make sure everybody's okay, right? JB didn't go through that.
He just lived it and he's like, I survived.
Right. And he lived it and he's like, oh, I can handle this. And, you know, but he didn't watch the struggle happen while two of your favorite people in the world went out into the middle of nowhere where you have no control over what's happening.
Yeah.
And you're relying on people outside of you, outside of your immediate family to help you do these things that you literally you're not capable of doing. Meanwhile, you have two little kids and you're scrambling to just try to do anything to be okay, right? I think there's just probably like different neuro pathways that like form in your brain where you're like, no, we are not letting this happen again.
I'm not doing this again. So yeah, because do you think neighbor guy, he's like, oh man, my leg almost got crushed, but it didn't. So
no, his job.
And I'm just going to go hammer some more. And
yeah, he's like, oh yeah, this thing happened. I'm moving on.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
every time you go outside, dude, I get a little bit of trauma.
Yeah, and so to go back to that, so I went through all those stages. I told my kids when I got home because I was so like pumped. I couldn't believe I did it. It was such an incredible thing to do. And there's no high like saving someone's life. Like I know that's such a crazy thing, but like I pray that if I'm ever put in that situation again, I can save a person's life. Not in the aspect to like have that rush again, but to be able to save someone. But like, it is an incredible thing that your body goes through. I don't know how paramedics, firefighters, like I don't know how they
EMT Cary because you liked saving someone's life.
Are you going
to get sick every time afterward? You're like,
I don't know.
I can do one run a day, guys.
So the thing is that I avoided him for like a couple weeks, probably like 3 weeks. So it was snowy and he went to the hospital. His wife was calling me or messaging me and saying thank you and all these wonderful things. But I was very much like, oh no, it's okay. Like, I'm glad I could help. But I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm freaking out, because that's how I really felt inside. I saw him come home from the hospital and like, I'm like that creepy in the curtain with the curtain, like through the window looking. And I'm like, okay, he's okay. And she would like text me where, you know, but I literally avoided them at all costs for like weeks because there was something about confronting that situation that like I couldn't do it, you know, and like he was fine. He wasn't worried. He was just living his damn life. But for me, it was like, what would have happened if my brain didn't engage? What would have happened if like you just go, home. If I wasn't home, because even if you call the ambulance, like luckily he told me later on, I asked the ambulance to bring a jack. But if he hadn't been, because he was on his wife called, handed him the phone, and he's like, bring a jack. I'm under the car, la, la, la. Which that is an incredible amount of
presence of mind.
Yeah. Meanwhile, your leg is crushed. I mean, he told me that, like, his leg was like lost feeling, like almost immediately. That's scary, you know, but and then he's calm. So he has just as much trauma in his body, I guess, from like being able to keep his crap together while he's literally pinned under a car. But like, I think about all that, and there was, I think about just how much my body went through to just be a part of that. It's not the same as being in it.
Yeah.
It's really not. So that happened in like the winter, right? I started to move. I had this problem with my car, and all I needed to do was hook the battery pack up. And for some reason, I couldn't get it to connect right to charge. So I asked him for help, and he came over, and he literally didn't have to do anything besides like put the things on there, and it worked fine. I was so pissed about that. But the point is, I finally confronted it. But that's like 6 months later. And I'm like, this is what happened, and this is how I felt. And I had to literally stop and go through that entire thing with him to feel some sort of like resolution to be able to like let it go. So I can't imagine you going back to that scenario all the time. Like there's got to be
changes.
So there's got to be some sort of resolution you need to meet. And maybe I need to have a talk with JB or every other adult there and be like, hey, this is still a very serious thing that happened to her, even if you feel it's not as important. Like, you need to acknowledge her feelings and you need to help her to feel comfortable and safe to get through this. Because literally, like, that's the only thing that's going to change it, in my opinion. Because that fear is going to keep regenerating, right?
I did have an opportunity to kind of like live through it a little bit during that same week where Olive canoed the canoe back to the beach.
Oh, right.
So I'm curious next time I go up if I'm feeling better or worse or whatever, because my father-in-law what was he taking out there? Was he canoeing out there? He was paddling something out. Might have been a canoe. He was going around the bend, that same bend where JB disappeared. So he went out into the lake and around the bend to go to his boat, which was in the next bay over. So he is like, I got to go get my boat and then I'll bring it back, la-di-da. Yeah, it was the canoe, and that's actually why Olive was bringing it back. So he's canoeing out there, an adult. And so I was not concerned because he is a grown adult and he knows what to do. Then suddenly, Gus and his cousin, who are out there playing in the kayak, decide they're following Grandpa. And so we see them paddling far, far, far out to Grandpa. And I was like, I'm in the house. I'm like, does Grandpa know they're following him? Or is he just going to bust a move around the corner and he's gone doing his own thing? No idea that two little kids are like, oh, we're following Grandpa. And so they're going around that bend. I was like, I have to trust that they'll be okay. It wasn't a super choppy day, but it was still, going way out there. And I was like, I watched them the whole time. And somebody's like, I think he knows. I think he knows they're following him so that if they have trouble, he hears. But, when you get around that bend, too, the wind whips up and you can't hear as well. It's just everything changes when you get out there. There's
a lot of unknowns there, which
so they
totally
did make
understandable.
They did make it back. And then the next thing we know, we see him on the motorboat coming around and he's towing them in their little kayak. So they were having the best day of their lives. I heard my niece like whooping because she's like, Grandpa's giving us a ride. But he was towing them and it was so exciting. I was like, you turd Fergusons. Freaked me out because you suddenly...
Totally understandable. I think that there's like... Again, finding the balance, right? So we'll have to do a recap on this one to see next time you go. But I think it's finding the balance. I also think it's being felt and heard. That's really necessary, especially in those scary scenarios, because you are a person that's, I don't want to quote Enneagrams because you're way better at it than me, but there are certain things that you want to be standard or like structured is the word I'm looking for. And if you don't have that structure, then you're not going to feel safe, right? It's not going to feel relaxed. You're not going to feel those things. I know I had one more thing I wanted to ask you. Oh, the last thing I wanted to ask you to wrap this up. I know as a parent, we watch, even with my niece. So my niece is 26, right? I find that there's certain things that happened in her life that in my mind and body, I expect her to remember or know. To be a thing of her history, but when I literally just ask her about it, she has no recollection, or she'll have a little perception of it. And I'm curious because sometimes we don't always say the things, we don't always bring the stories up in not an appropriate age, but sometimes we have to keep bringing them up in an effort to make sure they stick, because there is an age range where you just don't remember things, Yeah. So I'm curious, like, how often have you told the story to the other kids or all the kids to remind them, or even the adults?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think we've really talked about it a lot because I know it's still upsetting for Olive. So, and like Izzy was there enough that she remembers it was a scary situation. Gus is no concept.
No.
So yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if we have.
Because I think that it may not be a bad idea to reimagine and re-explore that with them, especially with because when you go to the cottage, it's not just your family, your immediate family, it's JB's family. And that may not be as, like, in the movie Inside Out, where they have those globes of, like, there's, like, those 5 important ones, and they're, like, the most important memories. Like, that's a core memory for you. It may not be for JB, which is, And it's definitely not for his extended family or his family. So maybe that needs to be revisited in a way to be like, hey, no, this is still very real for me. And especially like Gus and Izzy and even Olive again, like, hey, we need to talk about this so that way you can remember and understand my why and understand like how scary that is. Maybe they'll just listen to the episode and you can save your breath. Because you know, my kids actually listen to Finch and Sparrow. My boy, he'll randomly be like, well, you said, and I'm like, what? How do you know about that? Because he listens to the podcast.
Too funny.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
And I'm like, oh man, hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me.
You gotta be careful what we say.
Gotta be careful. Anyways, well, thanks so much for sharing that story with us. I'm glad Olive was able to overcome that. What a strong kid to especially be able to ride that sucker back. You know,
It's pretty good.
And I'm glad you're all still here to tell the tale.
I know. Neither of us drowned, Cary. None of us. Nobody
We
in
made
these
it.
stories drowned.
We made it. Thanks again, guys. We'll talk to you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Finch and Sparrow Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed our stories related to our lessons or just laughed along with us. We sincerely thank you for spending your time with us today. A special thanks to our friend Caitlin Vinci for letting us use her song We Rise. You can check out her full song and other tracks at CaitlinVincimusic.com. Follow along with us on our Instagram at Finch_N_Sparrow. There you can find out what we're up to, see what's inspiring us, and maybe what we're going to do next. See you next time.
Yes, you can be real and true, and it's all you allow yourself to do.